All right, everybody. So we're back for part three, and I think this is good. We're finally in a position here where we can actually begin our process. And yeah, maybe you guys noticed this with Uncle Larry, and this is certainly going to be the case for any for your project for this class and for your master's programs and everything. The majority of the work just seems to be kind of getting everything into place. I mean, we talk about the analysis being, the goal of what our project is, but boy, it seems like 80% of the work is just kind of getting all the little pieces lined up into place where we can finally, go ahead and hit that analysis button and run the analysis. And, once everything is in place, the analysis, ideally should just kind of tick along. So we've done all the work. I think we've got everything in place that we need to actually start doing our actual analysis and answering our questions. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at our map again here. So what we've got is we've got our Idaho roadkill queried down to just the moose. We've got difference. Let me go ahead and get rid of the difference. That is a redundant layer at this point. So let's go ahead and remove that one. And let's see, I didn't need the merged or the clipped anymore. I do want to go ahead and keep my overall moose range around because that is showing us what the overall range for the moose is. So we'll go ahead and keep that just in case I need that for the final analysis here. And then here is the state of Idaho. So this is looking great. Let's go ahead and take a look at our questions, and let's go ahead and answer our questions again. So our first question was, what portion of a species range falls under different designations for protection status? So what we can do that, so we need to go ahead and take a look at our Idaho PAD final here. And let's take a look at our attribute table here. And we've calculated our area, so basically we just need to go ahead and compare the areas here to a total. Now, let's go ahead and table question number one just now because we can circle back to this one in a few minutes after we've answered some of our other questions as well, because this area field is going to be with us for the long haul. So let's go ahead and table this one for right now. Let's take a look at our next question here. Do all reported vehicle-animal collisions occur within the designated range for your species? Now, this is one that we can just go ahead and answer fairly quickly. Just kind of go ahead and taking a look at it. Let's take a look at the range. So, because again, the question was asking about occur within the designated range for our species. So we're taking a look at our moose range versus our roadkill within the state of Idaho. It looks pretty good, but I want to actually make sure and check. So let's go ahead and we're gonna do a count. Okay, and we're gonna count in raster. We're gonna go ahead and count points. Oh, let me go ahead and get rid of this pop up here, my floating head. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna count points in a polygon here. So let's go ahead and run this. And so let's give our polygon here, and let's go ahead and just count it by the moose range. Okay, that is our designated moose range here. I'm going to go ahead and put in my Idaho roadkill, again featured for moose. I don't need a weight field, don't need a class field, but these are interesting options to consider when you're going to go ahead and run that. My count field name, we'll go ahead and call that num points, and yeah, we'll just go ahead and we'll leave that count to a temporary field. Let's go ahead and run that. And this shouldn't take very long to count at all. It's not a whole lot of points. And, I just realized I think I'm looking at the wrong darn part of this thing, because this thing ran in fifth of a second, and it was done before I even had the chance to take a look at it. So I don't need to be pausing this all the time. This thing ran faster than I could consider. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at count, and we're just going to go ahead and look at the attribute table here. And we can say that the number of points here is 1293, but let's go ahead and check what was our total number of features in here. And our total number of features here was 1307. So we've got 1307 moose collisions compared to, so 1307 minus 1293. So we've got 14 moose that were hit outside of what we would designate the moose protected area. So that's 99% within. That's pretty good. You can see where some of these moose are getting hit. That's outside the designated area here, but still within the state of Idaho. So that's pretty good, but that gives us an answer for the question here. So the question for number 2 is we're going to have to go ahead and report no, that a certain percentage, 14 out of 1,307 were struck outside of the designated range of the species. So there's our answer for that one. And that one we didn't even have to go ahead and create too many more layers or anything like that. We did create a count. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Actually, let me go ahead and hang on to that count just for the sake of having that around for writing out my answers and everything later. I might go ahead and just rename this for the sake of keeping it around. And let me go ahead and say moose in range. And that's just going to go ahead and just name it here. Again, this is a temporary file. That's not going to sit anywhere permanent because it's just answering this question, and then I'll be done with it. I don't need to ever refer back to it. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at question number 3. And within the designated range are the reported collisions evenly distributed between protected area types. Okay, so this one we're really getting to an actual spatial analysis problem. So let's take a look at our available tools here. And let's go ahead and turn off that moose. And we are going to do count again, except that this time, instead of just counting against the range, we're going to count it against the PAD final here. Okay, so if I go ahead and take a look at the PAD final, let's go ahead and do counts and polygons again. And this time we're going to go ahead and choose PAD final. We're going to throw in our roadkill points once more and look at our number of points and run it. And there we go. Let's look at the attribute table for here. Here we go. So we've got our number of collisions, and looks like so the number of collisions for category 5 is 1187. Net number of collisions for category 3 is 100. 7, just 2 for 4, and 0 for 1. However, let's take one more gander back here at our question here. Are the reported collisions evenly distributed? So we do need to pay attention to the fact that we've got different areas for our different protected area types, because of course our number 5 category is huge, but our number 4 category is quite tiny, showing up right up here. So in order to fairly answer this question, we're going to need to go ahead and just double check it and compare that against area. So in order to do that, we can go ahead and leave the GIS world at this point, and we can go ahead and take this into a table to do our analysis. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and save my project here so that I can come back to this. Let me go ahead and clear out my, anytime I'm leaving that I don't want to have that selection, I want to go ahead and clear that out. But I'm going to go ahead and save my project, and because I'm going to want to go ahead and make a map of this to present my results towards the end. And, of course, I'll be wanting to use my state boundary. Maybe I'll go ahead and give my PADs. Let's go ahead and give that a nice categorized. We will categorize it by its gap status here. And yeah, let's go ahead and some green values, classify that. It kind of, think I don't really want the all other. In fact, there really aren't any others in there, so I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that off. I'm not too happy about the fact I think you know, the number 1 value was more protected than the number 5 value, so I think I want to go ahead and invert that color ramp here. And so now the number 1 is going to be the dark green, number 5 is going to be the very pale green. Let's go ahead and symbolize that, and yeah, that's starting to look good. And I can go ahead and I'll give my moose count. I'll go ahead and create a map. I'll let you guys go ahead and use your own cartographic language to create a nice map to present your results. But let's go ahead and let's get our data from here into an Excel spreadsheet so we can go ahead and do the last bit of our analysis here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose my format. And let's go on back to comma delimited file, because we know that that is going to work in Excel. And we're going to go ahead and call this Idaho Moose by PAD. Okay, do that. We're going to go ahead and I think everything else there is looking good. Our separator is going to be comma. Run that, and look at that. It goes ahead and adds that right into our project. We can look at our manage table. Very nice. We've got this, but I want to take this into Excel. So let's go on into our windows here. And there's our Moose by PAD. Let's go ahead and open that up. And oh, this layer is locked for editing. That's a good point there. Let's go ahead and quit out of this. And let's go ahead and just remove that layer out of Q. Save my project just to drive the point home. Yeah, do pay attention to that. The Windows systems, I'm fairly certain Mac probably does the same thing. They throw locks on files when they're open up in the editing environment in Q, and so you're going to have a hard time opening them up in other files as well. So make sure you're kind of clearing out those locks. This also goes to if you want to zip up your results in the end and create a zip file. If you try to zip up a file that has that's open in another project, it may crash on you, or it may actually zip up with certain lock files embedded into that zip file. And then you're going to have a hard time at the other end when somebody downloads and extracts your data, trying to open it up, because it'll open up with these lock files on. So make sure you go ahead and clear things out from their editing in Q before you zip them up or try to access them in another software. So let's go ahead and open up our data here in CSV. Now opens up no problems. So we've got our area here. I'm going to go ahead and expand all my fields very nicely. I don't really need perimeter, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. And I've got my area here, and this is in square meters, and that's not going to be a terribly friendly unit for us here, because if I go ahead and, well, let's just go ahead and convert this. Let's insert a row. We'll do this one area in kilometers, and that will be a fairly simple conversion, because all we need to do is we just need to divide this one, and remember that this is area, so we're going to go ahead and divide it by 1,000 squared, and that is how many square kilometers we have in here. I think that's going to be a friendlier analysis unit than doing everything in square meters here. So now we can go ahead and we can look at the relative. Oh, I am not showing you the right screen here. So I've gone ahead and let me just do that last little bit of analysis here. So I've gone ahead and gotten rid of that. And I'm going to go ahead and put in, I think I see what's going on here. This divided by and 1,000 squared. There we go. So now you can see my area in square kilometers. That's going to be a friendlier unit to here. So let's go ahead and figure out what our rate of strikes per square area are. And so this is our road kills. This is going to be road kills per square kilometer. And this is going to be quite simply, this does not have to be the most complicated analysis in the world. There we go. And so now we can see our rates of road kills per square kilometer for our different category passes. In fact, if I want to really kind of make this user friendly, I might even go into data and sort, and I'm going to go ahead and sort these by the gap status. And there we go. Now, I do believe if we go back to question number 1 in our module here, what portion of a species range falls within the different designations for protection status? And as you recall, this whole area here is inclusive of the entire moose range for Idaho because we put in this unprotected. So we can also go ahead and put this in. And so let's go ahead and calculate what the proportion for that PAD is. And I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and say that our area is going to be, so this is going to equal the sum all of this divided by that. Did I do that right? Oh, you know what? I think I got that one backwards. Let me go ahead and let's go ahead and reverse that. Let's say that this is going to be this divided by the overall sum. And I need to go ahead and put this in sum. Okay, that looks a little better. In fact, if I want to make that a percent, I could go ahead and put that in parentheses and then I can go ahead and just go into my cell formatting here. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and format all those as a percentage. There we go. And I don't, oh. So if I'm doing that, I guess I need to take out the 100 part. There we go. Now I can't just go ahead and drag that down because that's going to choose another range for this. So I do want to go ahead and I want to specify that we want to keep this as C6 through C2 through C6. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in a $sign just before the numbers in Excel there. And now when I go ahead and do this, it will go ahead and fill that in. And just let me just go ahead and double check my math. I like to double check my math, and this should add up to be about 100. And look at that, very nice. Okay, so I now have my proportion for each category of the area. That should also fairly well translate if everything is, if moose are being struck at a constant rate, they should kind of add up. But actually, if we take a look, that's not really the case here. I think I just undid something on my math here. So, so I've got all the answers I need to answer my questions here, and you can see that I did quite a bit of the analysis, not even in the GIS environment. So once again, spatial analysis (GIS) is not entirely dependent upon doing all the analysis in the spatial environment. A lot of it can be done in other programs. It can be done in R. It can be done in Excel. It can be done in your Python window. Whatever interface you want to use. Um, I've got students who do lots of projects, and if they want to be using Google Earth, if they want to be using Strava heat maps, whatever tools that you can bring to bear to answer the questions that you need to answer, I'm all in favor of it. So have at it. Well, I hope this was helpful, and I want to give you some encouragement. I know there's a lot of problems in the Uncle Larry portion, and I hope you notice that going through this exercise, I was running into hiccups and errors along the way as well. You guys will run into problems as well. Pay attention to those red error messages that come across if you ever have a problem. Feel free to message me, and the two of us can debug it. I generally tell my students who take my live classes here that 3/4 of the job of being a GIS guy is just figuring out what the heck is going wrong, because there's always something that's going wrong. These analyses are never right the first time. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I was still running into issues, with this fairly easily canned data set. So don't get discouraged when errors pop up. It's just a part of the job, and it's the reason why. It takes a experienced hand to handle some of these things. So I hope you guys are having fun with this one, and let me know if you have any questions. So look forward to talking to you guys.